Yeah, welcome everybody to another episode of Sideline Chatter. We're here on a Monday afternoon. I'm here with Big Beast James Alver. He's off from work now, so we had decided to record in the afternoon, which is nice. How's it going today?
Going all right. Know what happened in our main league. Kind of looking like I was poised to make a playoff run and win a division potentially, and now I might not even make the playoffs because I lost and McCaffrey's out probably for the rest of the fantasy regular season. But I think I went 2-3. I said right. Or
Yeah.
2-3 in my 5 leagues. It was a very weird fantasy week, but
Yeah.
doing all right. How you doing, Chief?
I think, was a low scoring fantasy week, I think, for all of us. I went 2-2 across my leagues, got the dub in the main league, so that's all really that counts. But we got a new video idea that we're going to do here. We got 25 NFL facts for the season so far through 10 weeks that are pretty shocking, I would say, or pretty notable. So we're just going to kind of go off like rapid fire style. Like I'm going to say one, and then James is going to say one, and then I'm going to say one, and so forth. So let's hop right into that, Johnny. So we got
Boy.
got the energy in the afternoon. All right, so my first fact, I'm going to go. T. Higgins of the Bengals hasn't got under 10 fantasy points in PPR leagues since week 2. So if you're still thinking if you should start him, sit him, you're playing him every week because every week set and forget receiver.
That's it, especially against the Steelers. I think that's insane.
Yeah.
He's definitely matchup proof now officially. All right, my first one. Alvin Kamara is tied for second in the NFL among all pass catchers in receptions. That's ridiculous.
It's insane.
As a running back.
We touched on that in the award show how his pass catching's been insane the whole year. So I mean, second I'm in the league. That doesn't shock me.
Tied with Hopkins, second in the league catches.
Insane.
Pretty wild, actually.
Matchup proof, anything proof. Dude's a god. There are 3 wide receivers that average over 10 targets a game. Stephon Diggs at 10.2, Keenan Allen at 10.3, and Devontae Adams at 11.6, which is very high. These are 3 of the top probably 4 to 5 receivers in the league in fantasy. Diggs and Allen before the season are shocks now, but obviously they're monsters and you're starting every week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't really have much to add to that. But also, my stat is also about Devontae Adams, shockingly. Over the last 4 weeks, Devontae Adams is second overall in fantasy points. That's among quarterbacks, any position. He's second over the last 4 weeks. So he's your quarterback if you are in a tough situation at that position. He's been ridiculous.
I have him in 2 leagues, and I think I've gone like 2-2 or 1-3 in both those leagues. So I suck.
You should be 4-0 if you have him.
Stat number 3 for me: J.D. McKissick has 14 plus targets in each of the last 2 games. I think this has a lot to do with Alex Smith checking the ball down, but in PPR leagues, I think you're starting him in the flex.
Yeah, especially with Alex Smith starting out.
Right.
He's we said at the last episode, he's just known for checking down, and there's the proof. My next stat: James Robinson has not had one single game under 10 fantasy points. That's absurd.
Same.
That's just absolutely crazy to me.
No duds.
But yeah, I think he's also proven he's matchup proof on a 2-7 team as a running back. He's still producing top 3 fantasy back numbers. So
yeah, nobody saw it coming. But
steal the century if you got him somehow.
Facts. Since week 3, Justin Herbert has 3 plus TDs in every game but 1, and he also had 2 in the one that he didn't. So I mean, he's obviously been like a top 5, 6 quarterback ever since he's taken over the job, and I think next year in draft he's going to be a top 5 pick with quarterbacks. You know.
He's been insane.
Yeah.
You dropped him. That's fun.
And I dropped him right before Dak got hurt.
That's crazy. My next stat: Cole Beasley is 4th in the NFL in catches since week 6. So he's probably someone you had on your bench, like just sitting there. Cause
maybe your waiver wire.
Or, yeah, probably your waiver wire. But he's been in PPR. He's been very solid last month. So
valuable.
I think if you have multiple flexes or if you're thin with bye weeks and injuries, I think he's kind of been like you can use him any week. I feel like now.
Devontae Parker, the Dolphins hasn't gone over 70 yards once. I'm sorry, he's gone over 70 yards once all season. And if you look at last year, I don't know how many times he went over 70, but it felt like way more. And he's obviously taking a step back this year. And now with Tua taking over, the offense is less like pass oriented and deep shots. Like Fitzpatrick would take deep shots to him and stuff like that. So honestly, if you were thinking about benching him, I don't think it's crazy.
I don't have much to add to that. The Dolphins fan took that one. I don't have much to say about that one. mentioned him earlier in Justin's stats. Stephon Diggs already has 10 more catches than he did all of last season, but still has 200 less yards. So he was just averaging 20 yards a catch last year in Minnesota, I guess. To me, that's insane that he already, through 10 games, has more catches than he did through 16 games last year.
Right.
And that he doesn't have more yards is shocking. But
So he's went from a deep threat to a PPR machine.
Yeah.
Which we don't mind if you're in a PPR league, not like us, our main league.
Same age.
Brandon Cooks has averaged 19 fantasy points in the last 5 games. He's also had 9+ targets in each of those games. So I think he's a player that obviously, since Bill O'Brien got fired, has been the biggest benefactor.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a word there.
I wanted you to say it with some more chest.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks has become really solid.
So I'll have him in 2 leagues. It's been kind of huge for me. Jonathan Taylor has 23 carries for 71 yards over his last 3 games combined. That's terrible. If you drafted him probably as your RB2 or RB3, that's really bad. He's kind of just completely fell off out of the offense. They're just in a 3-way, not even committee really. He's kind of the last one, I feel like. He's the least productive, I should say, out of the 3. Wilkins doesn't get as many carries as him, but he definitely outplays him. And Hines is taking over the backfield, so go scoop Hines if you can, if someone doesn't already have him. And Taylor's to the point where you're probably benching him now.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Chalk it up, buddy. I think his time's next year, not this year. Deontay Johnson has averaged 20 fantasy points per game in every game he's finished, which kind of says a lot, or maybe doesn't. But he's finished 5 games healthy. He's left 2 games with an injury. He's been hurt 2 games. But if he plays the whole game, he's averaged 20 fantasy points.
Solid. It's your guy.
Hype train.
Johnny Smith is tight end 20 over the last 4 weeks after being tight end 5 through the first 5 weeks. Completely fell off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it made it sound really bad. But to put it in perspective of how bad tight end is this year, he's still tight end 7 overall, I believe.
Yeah, it's insane.
Despite being that bad the last month.
I guess the injuries has hurt him, or something,
Their offense is kind of weird now.
And
They look so
really
they look so good at the beginning of the season. Now they're kind of stagnant and leaning on Henry to plod. But I don't know.
Another tight end stat: Rob Gronkowski has a TD in 4 of the last 5 games that the Buccaneers have played. If you were scared about Antonio Brown getting signed there, I mean, he's obviously still a red zone threat, and like we said, the tight end position already sucks. So you're kind of just banking on lucky TDs at this point. And obviously, he's proved to be a big red zone threat in Brady's career. So Gronk has been pretty much everything he's asked these last 5 games.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset I don't have him in any league. I love Gronk, but next one. Despite being 7th in the NFL in rushing yards, Kenyon Drake is 27th among running backs in fantasy points. So how? What does that mean? Obviously, he's not scoring touchdowns, but he's not catching the ball.
Not at all.
That's what that means. That's crazy to me. Because I know rushing yards aren't everything, but 10 yards a point. I mean,
right.
You would think he's better than 27th if he's 7th in the league.
Right.
I don't know. To me, that's crazy. I didn't think he was doing that well in yards. Obviously, I was correct. He's not doing that well in fantasy, but nasty.
Yeah, I don't think they're scheming up a lot of catches for him. Obviously, he's been a good catching back his whole career, but not this year. Chief blew out to Edmonds, I guess. Todd Gurley has scored a touchdown in 7 out of 9 games played for the Falcons, so I don't own him in any league, but if you're a Gurley owner, obviously you're happy. You're kind of getting bailed out with these touchdowns. He hasn't been really that good on a rushing basis per carry, but he's scoring. That's really all that matters.
Another running back stat here. Wayne Gallman averaging 15.8 points per game in the 4 games without Freeman and has scored in all 4 games as well. So, I mean, probably not someone you were really high on because you probably didn't even, know what's going on with that backfield.
Right.
But, people who have him, he's been kind of, being really crucial for your season the last 4 weeks. I mean, 15 points a game, that's no joke. I mean, that's solid.
I feel like the Giants' offense has kind of turned a little corner. They've been looking more decent, and then their defense is keeping them in the game. So
yeah, Wayne Gallman, good go. If not already owned.
Another running back stat, last one here. James Conner hadn't got under 14 fantasy points in any game in weeks 2 to 8. He has a combined 11 points over the last 2 games.
Mm.
So whatever it is, I know the game last night against the Bengals, they were just no backfield, 4 receivers out, just throwing the ball every damn play.
All over the yard.
Yeah, if you're a Conner owner, which I'm not, I would honestly be worried about this. So if you have other options, I might look into that.
I'm actually gonna disagree with Hags here. I think he's fine. I think that was just one game. I don't know why they did that. It's very strange.
Yeah.
It worked. Like, don't get me wrong. I just that to me that's not like Steelers, the way the Steelers play, especially in pass. But we'll see. Something to monitor for sure. To keep your eye on. Next, I got one of two tight end stats here. Travis Kelce's ninth in the NFL among all qualifying pass catchers, running backs, receivers, tight ends. Ninth in catches, sixth in yards, fourth in touchdowns, and eighth in fantasy points. For a tight end, that's absurd.
Right.
He's absolutely been worth second round pick, whatever you used on him.
Definitely.
I'm really mad that he went as early as he did in our draft because I was going to take him in the second round. I had the first pick, so to 20th, I was going to take him. But he's been ridiculous this year. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if you own him, you obviously have a really big advantage in tight end, whoever the hell you're playing. So
It's how, like, how bad the position is.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you say? He has
50.
50 or
Yeah.
60 more points than the next closest tight end. Like, that's
insane.
ridiculous.
Kyler Murray and Cam Newton are on pace to break the NFL rushing TD record for QBs, set by Cam Newton in his MVP year with the Panthers. This kind of says a lot, kind of, about Kyler. Obviously, he has 10 so far this year. He's obviously taken a step forward from his rookie year. They're letting him run the ball more, especially in the red zone. And it's 10 rushing TDs from a QB through 10 freaking games is insane.
And to me, the craziest part about that is that they both have the same amount. Is their offenses are so different.
Yeah.
For them to both have 10 touchdowns is like pretty wild in itself. Like, obviously, I think I'm not thinking definitely all 10 of Cam's are inside the 5. QB power to one side or the other. And Kyler's are like scampers where he runs like 20 yards and gets in, and then or they run some fun design run near the goal line where he like is wide open. But I would like to see them both break it. That'd be very fun. New era of quarterback, old and new, young boy and old head. But my second tight end stat here, actually my third, Johnny, I forgot about that. Mark Andrews has 6 games with 3 catches or less, but is still tight end 5 because the position's that brutal this year.
Bad.
I guess touchdowns save him. 3 catches or less, he must have a touchdown in most of those games. I'm sure he does. But 6 out of 9 games with 3 catches or less, and I believe in the other 2 games he only has 6 catches and 5 catches, or in 4, 5, and 6, where he doesn't have 3.
Right.
It's terrible for someone who's probably projected as tight end 2 or 3.
I mean, their pass offense has progressed obviously
They're
this
just
year.
taking a huge step back this year, but
Chris.
still tight end 5. So you might not produce what you want him to do, but for that position, he's still
There's not much better out
I
there.
would say he's still doing easy top 5 at that position.
Matt Ryan has 3 games over 35 fantasy points and 3 games under 13 fantasy points. So he's pretty much boom or bust at this point. If you need him to go out and win a game for you, you could do that, or he can also kind of cost you your week. So I think play him with matchup based, whoever they're playing in that week. So just be careful.
I own him into 3 leagues, so it's not a fun stat to hear.
It's kind of fun, low key. It's scary. But fun.
It's scary. My last stat I have here is also a QB stat. Despite getting 20 points or less in weeks 5 through 8, and 2 of those weeks he got 14 or less, Josh Allen is still QB4. So that's probably not that crazy, but like
shows what kind of ceiling he has.
Yeah, so it's just, really what it shows is how ridiculous he can be.
Yeah.
Where I was looking at it, he has like 4 points with 40 or more, and then like 3 more with 30. Like it's crazy. He's not getting like the normal cookie cutter QB like 20, 25 points a game to get there. Like Aaron Rodgers is like
just steady.
Like steady throwing the ball 30 times a game. He's QB5, I believe, Rodgers, and he's like Josh Allen has games where he has 18 attempts and like weird shit, like weird stat lines, but he's still QB4. So if you took a chance on him, I personally do not believe it. I could say that I was wrong, but QB4, that's very solid production for someone you probably drafted as QB8 or 7 or 8.
He's been fun.
Solid.
Last stat of the show, we have Big Ben has 2+ passing TDs in every game but one, and also 32+ attempts in every game but one game, and that was the same game they blew out Cleveland. So he's been low key like very stable for you. 2+ TDs a game. I mean, I'll take that. I think he's 4th in the league in passing touchdowns behind all the top guys like Rodgers, Mahomes, and Wilson. So if you have Big Ben, you can probably count on like at least 16 points minimum.
That's very solid. I did not know that he was that consistent because I have him in the league. I feel like he hasn't been that good.
Yeah, he hasn't
like,
been the flashiest and highest scoring.
But that's that's serviceable floor right there.
Thanks. So that wraps up this show. Let us know if y'all liked it. We're trying to think of new ideas every week. If you guys got ideas, comment below or text us individually or whatever. Go to our social media pages. Like always, like the video. Go follow our TikTok Sideline Chatter. TikTok. Trying to do this with my hand every time. You got any closing words?
I do not. I'm ready to get out of week 10.
Yeah.
It's been a really ugly week, but looking forward to week 11.
I'm ready to go to the gym. So,
Yikes.
see y'all.